We are in the midst of prediction season, so I'm here to give my hot takes for this upcoming season. Some predictions that I have won't be as popular with the general consensus, and predicting such an unpredictable sport is always fun, as it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is going to happen. However, I hope I hit on a couple of these predictions, but before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. My first hot take is that I have Drake London breaking out into becoming an elite wide receiver this season. He's been on the brink of becoming a top 20 to 15 wide receiver in the league, but is held back by terrible QB play. He's always been healthy and has been consistent his entire career. However, with new quarterback Kirk Cousins, he finally has competent QB play. Kirk has done wonders for receivers like Diggs, Thielen, Jefferson, and Addison in the past with the Vikings. He could do the same thing with a special talent like Drake London. However, he has not had a receiver as physically talented as Drake London. The hot take that I believe is London will lead the league in receiving touchdowns. Kirk Cousins is a great launcher of the deep ball, and when given a jump ball receiver like London, points could be put on the board very easily. I'm estimating around 12 to 15 receiving touchdowns, which would be good enough to lead the league. Speaking of a good QB and wide receiver connection, my second hot take has to do with the Cardinals. I believe that Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 5 duo in the league next season. Let's start with Kyler Murray, who has been underrated due to him being injured or being the laughingstock in the media. He has been an MVP candidate for 2 straight years, leading the Cardinals to the playoffs and a top record in the NFC for a good part of the season. However, last year he has still showed that he is that same guy, as he had a decent 8 games. He's still a great passer and a very elite rusher. With an elite weapon, Murray has been elite and been putting up crazy weapons. Now enter Marvin Harrison Jr., who is the greatest wide receiver prospect of all time. He's going to come into the league ready, polished, and already a number 1 receiver immediately. When paired with a great quarterback, Marvin Harrison Jr. has proven he can be elite and help take a team places. As in 2022, CJ Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. formed a great duo en route to the national championship game. In training camp, he's already formed a great connection with Murray already, solidified himself as the number 1, and he will be a threat for a decade. This duo is scary and will dominate the league for next season. However, when talking about the best QB wide receiver duo in the league next season, that title belongs to the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Let's start with Wilson. He, like London, has been very consistent in his first 2 years in the league. However, he's been more productive, recording 2 1K seasons so far. All of this with the worst QB play in the league. He is one of the most talented receivers in the league and is a great route runner. He still hasn't reached his potential either due to bad QB play. Add in one of the greatest QBs ever play the sport and you have the best duo in the league upcoming this season. Aaron Rodgers will bounce back from his injury and play at a great level once again. He has his talent, and while he may be limited mobility-wise going forward, it isn't the largest part of his game. He still has his arm talent, accuracy, IQ, and ability as before. Considering how Rodgers is when he does have an elite receiver, that receiver gets spammed putting up numbers, like at Davante Adams for example. With Wilson's talent and untapped potential alongside Aaron Rodgers, they will form the best duo in the league. My next hot take has to do with Anthony Richardson and how he will become a top 10 QB in the league this season. He is the most athletic QB of all time with insane speed and strength. He has incredible arm talent as well. Richardson had already shown flashes before he got injured, as well as making some great plays in the air and on the ground. However, he still has some issues with durability and accuracy, but he has an incredible support system around him in Indy. Shane Steichen was one of the main catalysts on why Jalen Hurts had his MVP season in 2022 by maximizing his talents, especially on the ground. The Colts have assembled one of the best offensive lines in the league to protect AR. He has a great running back behind him with Jonathan Taylor, who will bounce back to form this season. And lastly, he has great weapons with him with MPJ, Adonai Mitchell, and Josh Downs. AR is given all the tools to succeed in Indy, and he will prove why he was an elite prospect. However, I'm not done with the Colts yet. AR and JT will form the best QB and running back duo in the league, not Lamar and Henry. This is not meant to bash the Ravens and their run game, but the potential for the Colts is insane. Not only do they have a better offensive line, but I believe JT will be a lot better than Henry this year. Henry is still a great running back despite being 30. However, I don't think he will have a better season than JT. Taylor has been injured and has missed time due to external reasons for the past 2 years. After a great 2021 season, he looked like the best running back in the league. At just 25 years old, he can bounce back with a great offensive line, a new scheme and system. After 2 years off the field, he will be fresh and dominate yet again to solidify himself as a top 5 running back in the league. I had just talked about Richardson, and while he is not Lamar, he could become the second or third best QB rusher in the league. He has all the tools and support around him to break out as a rusher. This combo will run all over the league. One team that will not be running through the NFL are the Broncos. In fact, I believe they are going to be the worst team in the league. For a last place team, their schedule is rough. Outside of their division, they play the best division in football with the AFC North, and they play the Falcons, Colts, Jets, and Seahawks as well. Everyone in their division got better, even the Chiefs, while they might have gotten worse. They have the worst quarterback room in the league. The weapons room is unproven outside of Cortland Sutton and Josh Reynolds. Their offensive line got worse as well. Their defense is pretty much mid outside of PS2 and Zach Allen. And lastly, I have no faith in Sean Payton. With a combination of all these things, the Broncos are leading the tank race before the season even starts. I think they can win 4 to 5 games minimum and 7 on the high end. The Russell Wilson trade really destroyed this franchise. Two teams that have not been destroyed by QB trades are the Houston Texans and Green Bay Packers. Both are led by young superstar QBs who were the breakout stars of last season. Both have great young weapon rooms that are dangerous. Both have great young head coaches who are at the top of the league. And lastly, both of them have the momentum to carry on to the season for improvement. So that's why I have both of them being number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. The Chiefs are a stamped double-digit team every year. However, the regular season does not matter to them at this point. The Bengals, Bills, and Ravens are all in contention for the 1 seed. However, I think the Texans can overcome the odds and become the first seed in the toughest conference. In the NFC, the competition is very thin. The Niners are still a great team, and the Lions have a true shot to win the NFC. However, if the Packers reach their potential, and I believe they will win the NFC. Both these teams have incredible potential, and when that is fulfilled, they're going to win the conferences, and maybe they will be the Super Bowl matchup. One team that has no potential outlook to look forward to are the New Orleans Saints. The hot take I have on them is that they are the worst position in the entire league. Being in the worst position means they have no future at all. They are not the worst team in the league, but they have no young exciting players to get behind outside of Chris Olave. They have a mid-quarterback with Derek Carr, one of the worst head coaches in the entire league with Dennis Allen. They have one of the oldest teams in the league, and their players are always injury prone. Alvin Kamara, who is a superstar on offense, is really solid, however he is still approaching 30. They are always in cap hell and continue to kick that situation down the road. Even in a weak NFC, they are making the playoffs, but they aren't bad enough for a good pick. They are the Bulls of the NFL. In fact, they might just be worse. They should have blown it up last year. Now they're stuck paying Carr with no hope of improving their roster with young players anytime soon. My last hot take has to do with the Titans running back Tyjae Spears. I believe he will join elite company and become the 9th running back in NFL history to have an 800-800 season. 800 receiving and rushing yards all in one season. Behind Derrick Henry, Spears recorded a 400-400 season with great efficiency. Now as a starting running back, I think he can double that production and have a historic season. Even though the Titans signed Pollard, Spears is the starter day 1 and should remain that way. I think he can easily record over 800 yards on the ground, and as the receiving back last season, I believe his role only goes up even more. Next season, he will establish himself into a historical caliber and be one of the best running backs in the entire league. I definitely have some hot takes I believe will happen this season presented in this video that might not be very popular. However, that is the fun of prediction season. With the NFL being so unpredictable year by year, taking these shots in the dark is always a fun exercise. Let me know what you guys think about these hot takes in the comments, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.